Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 470. Before we dive in, Riot has started to spoil the new cards coming out of the new sets. We'll jump in on the champion ones real quick. They've spoiled Yuumi, so we can get her pulled up real quick. And it's not a real expedition powerhouse, if you will. I think that there's probably a world where Yuumi is pretty decent and constructed if this is the specific kind of ability you're looking for. But as kind of like a build around style champion, I don't think that she's bad, but I don't think that she's going to be spectacular. And so it is kind of interesting. Like, what is the amount of mana you will pay to give a unit permanently +2/+2? 3 mana is over by like a point, right? If we are going to permanently give a unit +2/+2, then I would expect that to cost 2 mana. But it is reusable and it does have this additional grow ability attached to it. And so perhaps she's a little stronger than that. It's just not one of these champions I look at like Draven or Teemo or even something like Caitlyn or Heimerdinger, whoever. These champions that have this like big, full build around potential attached to them. That's just not what I see in Yuumi. She just seems kind of like a supporting champion in my eyes. And so you could definitely do worse with your supports, but I don't think she's a full-on powerhouse build-around champion on her own. But otherwise, she does have this attached mechanic. Some of the other attached bros have been spoiled out here as well. If you're not familiar, Yuumi and all these other things that have attached, you can either just play the unit normally, or you can play it on top of one of your units that are already in play, and then they gain the stats and the abilities. So if we attach Rainbow Fish to one of our units in play, it gets +2/+1, and it gets elusive. And so these are all, reasonably powerful. Again, if we're thinking of like some of the cards that already exist, like if we're willing to play Fey Guide just to give something elusive. That costs 4 but gives you some stats. This is kind of in line with that. Papercraft Dragon giving units double strike is pretty scary. Even if we're putting it on like an armored elephant or if we're putting it on elusive, that's pretty big. If we're putting it on a strike unit, it gets kind of interesting, right? So if we're say playing Bandle City Sharma and we put it on like Vicar and Bruiser, that could be kind of powerful. And then the quick attack for 2 mana seems like a pretty decent deal as well. And so I think these are all fine, in terms of, build around, hey, do you want to go tall on this single unit? Probably not. If that unit has faded, probably. But nonetheless, that's how these are all running. They did print another fated unit, I do believe. It's Assisted Librarian out here. That does start to worry me, right? We've seen the 1/2 fated unit for 1 mana be fine. Pantheon's fine if on the stronger side of things. The dragon, I'm just super stoked, doesn't exist in Expedition, and now it seems like we're getting another common unit. We're going to have to see what it feels like to have our opponents realistically have 5 and 6 and 7 faded units in their deck, whether or not it's just Pantheon and the 1-drop, or now adding in the Assistant Librarian. Just lots of powerful things that could potentially turn out that way. But it's a Bandle City unit and not a Targon unit, so who knows in those terms. And then the last one, Scholarly Climber, has Spell Shield. I hate it. I hate these Spell Shield cards. I'm not really excited to see Spell Shield units ever. And I guess at least all of these build around strategies go to play well to that theme. But it's just a thing I hate seeing on units that cost less than like 8 mana. But there you have it, Yuumi. She's fine. Whelmed. Again, if you're playing constructed, you might find a better place for this to where you can stack up a build around champion and then have her supporting. But in Expedition, I don't see her as being too incredibly powerful. Okay, so let's dive on into the draft. Oh, Expedition number 470, yeah. Let's see who shows up here. And it's an Arachnophilia Riven. I'm kind of interested. I just I'm not a huge fan of drafting these Malphite decks. They're fine, but I don't feel like the gameplay is that compelling. You're basically setting yourself up to not die. You want to find as much early game as you can. You'll play an Eye of Rahul Rock that's going to flip your Malphite. And then you just basically cast his ability and win. It's like the games just aren't that exciting. There is a Starlit Epiphany in here, which is which is quite powerful, but doesn't make me want to come out here and draft this. And then over here to the right, we have Heimerdinger. I'm just not a huge fan of Heimerdinger either. He's fine. You know, the way we always talk about Heimerdinger is you're looking to pick up as many Flash of Brilliances as you can, and then the big gameplay strategy is to ensure that you can play Heimer without getting 0 value. So if you just play Heimer and he dies, that's a problem. If you play Heimer, your opponent plays Vengeance on him, and then you can follow up with 2 Flash of Brilliances, then that's okay. And then otherwise, if you untap or if you start a turn with Heimerdinger on the board, then you've probably already won the game. And so that does bring us back here to this Riven. I am, of course, a big fan of Noxus. It's one of my favorite factions in the game. I'm not a huge fan of Riven being attached to this Arachnophilia. I feel like there's too many Rivens running around, but nonetheless, we can pull this up and talk about it a little bit more. So, if you're not familiar, we're just heading over here to ftpbus.com. We're just going to be on the front page. We'll make our way down to this little drop-down box and pick up Riven and Arachnophilia. And so, yeah, as you could guess by the name, this is the Spiders deck. It pairs up with Elise. It's meant to take advantage of the Spiders. And we'll basically have 3 deck building decisions with this deck. We're going to see if we dive into the Spiders. You could either do that with commonly with Shadow Isles, or if you're feeling frisky, you can pick up Freylord and try to pull off some of the Iceborne Legacy onto Broodlings. I don't really recommend that with Noxus, right? We don't have a lot of ways to stack Broodlings. We only really have House Spider, but that is a thing. I would prefer to be base Shadow Isles, so we can get things like Brood Awakening and Elises and Crawling Sensations, not just House Spider. But that will be, kind of decision number 1. Are we going to play Spiders, whether or not SI or Iceborne Legacies? Thing number 2 is, are we just going to play kind of a standard go wide Noxus strategy? There's a lot of really good go wide stuff here between, both the Spiders and the Noxus units in general. If we're able to get a full board, then we can take good advantage of things like Arena Battlecaster, crowd favorite, Decisive Maneuver, and then there are the things in here to help us get full boards, right? House Spider generates 2 units, Precious Pet can come down and attack without getting blocked, and a lot of cheap dudes, so we can fill out the boards that way. So that is option number 2, go wide Noxus, not necessarily Spiders, but trying to get a lot of width and aggressive stuff. And then option number 3 is the Reforges. All the Reforge cards live here. There's, of course, Riven, there's Blade Squire, there's Runeweaver, and Weapon Hilt. That's all of them. Whether or not you use this as kind of like a supporting archetype as to where maybe we're playing Scrap Heap with the discard stuff, or maybe we pick up Mecha Yordles, whatever. That can be a support, or it can be a full build around if you find something else to go along with it. Typically looking for challengers, but lots of options coming out of this Riven. It's a very fine place to be. And starting off with a Spider, kind of nice. And so, interesting set here. We got the Bandle City pack. So if we want to try and move into Mecha Yordles, then we could potentially pull that off here. Having the Noxus plus Bandle City should make the what's his name, Rumble based cards show up. And then otherwise, there's this Black Mist Nocturne in terms of if we want to go into Spiders. And this is kind of an awkward one. I'm going to have to pull it up and see if Arachnoid Sentry lives in there. That's the 3/2 Spider for 2 mana with Fearsome. But the Nocturne deck is intent to be the Mist Wraiths deck. And so I want to jump in and see what Mist Wraiths and Fearsomes and the likes we have access to out of Nocturne before we make the decision. I'm mainly interested in Arachnoid, again, like Arachnoid Horror. It doesn't live here, but the problem you start to run into here with the Mist Wraiths is if you don't go all in on the Mist Wraiths, then they're just not very good. And so I kind of wanted to see if we're able, like, when we're talking about Riven, we're saying we can play Spiders, but we don't have to. We can play Go Wide Noxus. That's basically Spiders or not Spiders. You don't have to be all in on Spiders for that to work out. I was trying to see if we could do the same thing here with Fearsomes, as to where if we're picking up Arachnoid Horrors, if we're picking up the Spider, the Frenzied Skitterer, then we don't necessarily have to draft all the Mist Wraiths, but if we land into the Mistwraith's deck and don't find too many of them and then don't have the supporting cast of Fearsomes to go with it, then you run into a bit of a problem. And so I'm not really amped about going into this strategy. And as you may have noticed in our previous video, it is pretty easy to go wide with Bandle City. And so that's who I'm going to look to here. I'm going to switch over to this Tristana. And see what World Travelers has to offer. And so, of course, there is Arena Kingpin. This is the Noxus kind of paired unit, which is incredibly powerful. 4 attack, quick attacker for 3 mana is a fantastic deal. And then the other things we're really looking towards here, we have Yordle Explorer, Yordle Squire to pump all of our Yordles. Conchologist is one of the premier cards in the game, generating these spells while being a relevant unit. And then we can find things like Bandle Commando to help us get a bunch of dudes on the board. And so if we're going to swing back and go full circle and look to play cards like, what's his name? The Ogre. Decisive Maneuvers and the Ogre and Arena Battlecaster, the cards like that want us to have a full board, and things like Bandle Commando really assist on those terms. And so I think this will be a decent pairing. The other thing I was kind of interested in was, as we jump into Bandle City, if we can get Rumble to turn up, he has a lot of good cards that play with Reforge, right? If we're looking to discard a bunch of cards to manifest these Mecha Yordles, it's pretty nice to have the Reforge mechanic in your deck, so we aren't discarding real cards to these, we're just discarding the Reforge fragments. And then you do see a lot of cards that we want anyways that would live in an archetype like this. There's a Yordle Squire, the Arena Kingpin, and so I'm kind of hoping that we might be able to just backdoor into the Rumble cards, because they are quite powerful. And so, I'm on board with this. We've got a kitty coming up here to hang out. Had to make sure I didn't get the claws. And off we go. So, okay. So, tough little pack here, right? We're really looking to push our curve down. And if we're looking to go for the go wide stuff, Arena Battlecaster is quite good. But I don't really want Shrieking Spinner. Like, it's fine if you're not playing spiders, but I think we're going to be pushing away from Noxus and heading more towards Bandle City. So I'm going to go with the Explorer Travelers out of this. The Yordle Explorers is a fantastic early game play. And then the Aloof Travelers, while not super strong anymore, we can still make some usage out of. An interesting pack here out of the Brutality Kindred, the Shadow Isles Brutality pack. There are just 4 commons in this archetype, one of them being Arachnoid Horror. So that would be kind of an interesting set to have turn up if we were looking to chase down these style of units, but I don't think I'm going this way. I think I want to come over here and take the Yordle Squire. And then one thing to note, if you take this Dark Ball Acolyte, you'll see Darkness Rising on every synergy pack. I don't want that happening. These are not going to play towards the strategy we're trying to pull off. Okay, and so here, a couple of different options. I'm glad to see Glory and Value turn up. This is the Rumble archetype. That's exactly what we wanted to see coming out of this draft. But for this pick in particular, I'm going with the House Spider. I want the go wide cards here. The Nox and Fervor is a nice finisher, or we always have units to sacrifice off to it. That should be a fairly strong addition. But now we do have the heavy incentive to just be like super Yordle heavy with the second Yordle Explorer. Happy enough to pick it up. These cards out here aren't that good anyways. I don't want Shunpos because we already have one of these 5-cost game enders. And then I don't want Shadow Isles. So we will have to, pay note to the Yordles from this point forward, though, right? Adding in things like Bandle Painter, much stronger now that we have two Yordle Explorers. Okay, so yeah, let's just keep on track with these. I am kind of interested in the Blade Squire, but let's go with the top end and the Painter. It would be nice to find some of the early game Reforges that aren't quite here, but I think we're still in a pretty good space. All right, coming out of this one, I'm going to take the Arena Kingpin, just an incredibly powerful attacker. Again, we're going to stay away from these spiders. Just like Arachnoid Sentries, again, are reasonable. It's like having a house spider. The stats are fine. The ability's fine. I'm not super interested in an Arachnoid Host. But here I want the Yordle Squire. It does give us the discard stuff that we're looking for. Okay, Wizened Wizard, Tornado Warrior, not terrible, but I'm going to go with the additional Bandle Gunners here. I mainly want the Bandle Commando, but this is a reasonable finisher for us here. If we can get this impact thing going. We don't have a ton of ways to get this happening. I was expecting some of the Manifest, Mecha Yordle kind of things to turn up, but we'll just have to see how that plays out. Otherwise, we just have the single Bandle Painter. We're going to have Bandle Painter number 2 now, but not too many ways to get a factionable unit outside of Bandle City Noxus here. Okay, and so out of this one, we'll take some Noxus here. I'm happy enough to pick up these Glory Seekers. We can typically find a way to give these quick attack. We aren't really that close without our Reforges, but it's still a nice bit of interactivity. We only have 4 spells up to this point, and so I think he'll be okay. Here's a good Blade Squire for us to pick up. It's got a spell, right? We're really lacking in spells. I would like another Yordle Explorer, but we don't want 3 of these Gunners. And then Basilisk Rider, Wrathful Rider is pretty unplayable here. Just too far off theme of what we've assembled. Okay, that's a 3rd Yordle Explorer. He's looking pretty good. We got the Fey generators, right? Maybe the maybe the new cards will turn up here before you know it. Maybe we'll get a surprise new card in our deck. And okay, what are we doing here? I think I'm just going to pick up the Bandle Tree. This is a pretty powerful game ender. You know, just generating a unit every turn of the game is pretty good, and then given enough time, it'll just end the game. Quite powerful here. Glad to add that one in. And okay, so you all know what time it is. We do have to go and turn something premium, continue to pay the fee for the pay-to-win lifestyle. And let's see what's out here. We've got Bandle City in here, so hopefully there's something turning up. And Yordle Explorer, you're going to be our boy today. We got 3 copies of you in our deck. I'm expecting big things out of you. No Yordle Captains, didn't see any of those. No Manifest Mecha Yordles, kind of odd. Maybe we should have picked up that one, what's it called? That one Glory and Value pack, because once we passed on it, we didn't see any more after that, but hopefully we can get a Rumble to turn up here, but it's not the end of the day if we don't. All right, so yeah, battle time. You know, yeah. I'm trying to ascertain my thoughts on this deck and the level of strength. It's serviceable. It doesn't have like the raw power that you get out of like finding the Mecha Yordles. I worry as we see hands like this that our card quality is still kind of low, but I think we have a nice like core here. It's just like a little bit closer to good cards than I like, right? It's got doesn't have like a clear and defined direction on what it's able to pull off, other than like having 3 of the Yordle Explorers, and so we'll see. We'll see if we can't find it a little bit of direction into where it goes here. It's like it's got a bit of the multi-faction flavors to it. Got a bit of the go wide flavors to it. It's got a bit of the Yordle flavors to it, but it doesn't have any like big collection of things working together. And with this, I'm gonna drop the Glory Seeker. Now, if he just like passes to us and we get to hit him for a 5-bomb, that's pretty decent. Now the question becomes: do we want to like slow it down and try to pick up a bigger board? And like, I don't think so. We can drop the House Spider Protoporo and then maybe get a good hook somewhere, but that doesn't seem super likely. So let's add in the Painter. We'll discard this Protoporo. It's kind of trashy now. He lost his point to health and everything. We did pick up a strong one in the Poro Sled. It's kind of nice. I kind of do like the idea of going for Rivens here. It's just we need the quick attack fragment for the Blade Seeker, the Glory Seeker, or we kind of want to find an Overwhelm fragment. Like if we're stuck getting the Glory Seeker into combat with an Otterpuss, then I would at least like to get in the 4 points of damage. So we'll see. We'll see what turns out. We do have like nice synergies on the board here, though. I'm just kind of envisioning this as like we get to bank 1 mana here, so we can get a sure. Gets the hook onto Riven, that's fine. Well, I was thinking that we would get the blade fragment next turn and then have the mana to use it. And then that would activate the augment on the painter, and then we have that 66% chance of hitting something good with the Glory Seeker. But we're going to lose Riven here, and that's okay. We should still be able to get like a reasonably strong hit in, right? If this kind of falls as I would expect, where we drop Poro Sled, and then opponent drops, ooh, what the hell? I was gonna say, and then opponent drops like a 5-drop. We just hook the 5-drop with the Glory Seeker and bomb. But wow, sometimes the game just ends. Okay, so where are we gonna land here? Dang, I was really hoping the Rumble turned up down here to the end. I wasn't like expecting it to happen that well, right? Since we had that like one pack where Glory and Value turned up as a synergy. But I'm hoping that we might be able to still piece some of this together. Like, Mecha Yordle isn't a strategy to where you're like, oh man, I only picked 3 Mecha Yordles, so the combos don't work. I needed to hit like a density of 7 to make Mecha Yordles work. That's not the way it is at all, right? It's just a high quality collection of cards. And so if we do pick up some of them along the way, it's fine. But it's just like I like being able to Mecha Yordle away these various tokens and swords and hammers or whatever to get high quality units on board. But that's not where it's going. I think we're going to see ourselves sliding more and more towards Yordles plus like using this combo of like Tristanas and Yordle Squires and Yordle Explorers to build up a reasonable board and be towards the World Travelers kind of theme. And so we're going to go with the Tristana out of this one. See how we proceed. Did get another Conchologist out of that. That's kind of nice. Not the hugest fan of not Flame Chompers, Flame Spitter, whatever that one's called, the Impact one that we just picked up, but it can play nice on the quick attackers. I think we only have the one arena dude, the 4-2 thing, but that's like the kind of premier target for those if you're just out there and attacking, right? I don't really want to play Flame Spitter on a 3-3 and just have it trade in combat. So we'll see. There we go. Getting LOR Guardian up for you. We didn't have the old deck list on the screen for you. Makes me a little sad. All right, not a bad start here. We'll get rid of the Aloof Travelers. It's a little expensive. Arachnoid Host is not an upgrade, but you know, we're looking for a combat trick, another cheap bro, something. Not like my favorite turn 4 play. All right, then we'll go for the pointy sword. The spear, right? This was the patch note where they had to update the text from spear, the hammer to spear. It was updated. Thank you. Thank you, Riot. All right, let's go ahead and get in here. There is a world where we just like add Conchologist and then just don't have good attacks. So we'll leave him behind for now. Drop it post combat. See what we can pick up. I typically don't like these discard cards, but given that opponent like didn't play a 1 or a 2, how do we feel about these in terms of you know, if they only have like one potential play? We probably can't get them to discard their potential play though. Let's just pick up the Death's Hand and have the removal spell. Lulu, Pantheon, Taric. Maybe we'll spike a Pantheon with the Death Hand after his barrier drops. Gifts from Beyond. This does not seem like a good start from opponent. We do have a 2. Like, I'm curious what happens if we say put Tiny Spear on the Conchologist and then just play the Trifarian Glory Seeker, right? Does he still attack into our 3 health unit? Or 3 attack unit? Maybe. I mean, it is a fairly easy place for him to have Pale Cascade. So how do we feel about that? If he's clearly just making the attack, I'll try to take the unit down with the Glory Seeker. Say, I'm not having that. You got your damages in. Okay. So I think we're good to just open now. Like adding in Riven and Tristana don't get us too far along, and we get to chunk in for 5. Okay. No, thinking of just dropping the Riven, so we start to get the Reforged Fragments, and then we aren't missing out on too much here. Wow, opponent's just not adding anything to the board. We should be able to just snowball through this.
Darkness hides in their path.
Where did you get this? Oh, if you have the attack token. Shit. We had it. It was just used. It's okay. I think that's still the unit we would prefer to get on the board. In the Riven. Because we're about to just slam some Arachnoid hosts on the board and hope for the best. Okay. I don't quite get that. I wonder if he ever just passes back. There's no way. He has to take the attack here. Tristana out here just doing nothing. Say, I refuse to boost your units. Okay. So he's gonna get to gain like 4 at the end of the day. The moon weapon falls off. He's definitely attacking now. Sure. What we hit? Overwhelm? Probably want to save that for next turn. Let's see where this gets us. I would suspect he's probably going to block the Conchologist. Has to block Riven. Okay.
Must we fight?
Astral Protection. How big is that? Up to 8? Well, I'm not super interested in letting this unit live, but our tricks aren't quite good enough. We're going to have to like Nox and Fervor, Riven to pop off the Shadestalker, but do we want to do it now is the new question, right? We're taking them to 11. It's just, if this fails, right? Like, how screwed are we when we're missing out on this damage we could be sending to face? I'm leaning more towards just, like, not doing it and then putting a Flame Spitter onto our Conchologist and hitting for 6. So it'll be like 6, 9, 10, 11 coming in. And then we have 4 burn in hand. And we can maybe make a Bandle Gunner play a couple turns from now. I think this is fine. So we'll start here and just see what opponent does. He tries to get real weird, then we can play the Nox and Fervor onto the Shadestalker, but yeah, I don't think that's going to be a necessity. We need to summon some more regions for old Bandle Gunners here. Or yeah? Protoporo gets it up another 1, but we're not gonna hit the impact on this thing. A little unfortunate. All right, Broheim, what you got here? Battle bonds? Okay. I don't think we're worried about battle bonds. He's coming in for 11, so we're going to have to block something. We use... I mean, we shouldn't even use the Squire. We should use the Commando, right? Can't lethalist from here. Alright, so here's the Tristana. Now, we kind of need to spend some mana. That's perfect. That's a perfect right there. Get that dum-dum out of here. Now, are we even gonna bother, right? Do we even bother with trying to get the Bandle Gunners down? He blocks our two biggest units. He's taking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with the impact down here. We just picked up a 2-attack fragment as well. So I'm gonna spew that one down. Put you here. I don't think there's a reason to drop the Overwhelm, right? He's just blocking our big boys every time. Our big girls, I should say. He's out here blocking our Riven. But right, I don't want to be in the space to where we add this Bandle Gunners to the board and then he just like homecomings it, right? I think we'd rather, if we attack like this, he blocks our two bigs and then plays a homecoming on, say, Tristana, then we just Nox and Fervor to face, as opposed to having the big unit on board and potentially having to go into next turn. Cool. We did it. The victory is ours. Okay, so what do we feel about these? It is nice to get rid of the Arachnoid Host. Like, I don't really want Incisive Tactician, but like that was about as good as we could hope for in an Arachnoid Host, and it wasn't very good. And so I'm going to make this swap. I don't know what that'll actually do in terms of our deck building trades in the future. Like, the trade I would like to be making is this Proto-Poro for Bandle Commando, but I think we've stuck with these Proto-Poros, right? It's a multi-faction, and it counts as additional factions for our Bandle Gunners. I don't think we can get rid of those at this point, even though the Bandle Commando does generate the phase, the count for that thing. Okay. We'll give it a go. All right, so yeah. Hope everyone's having a delightful day out there. Spoiler season's always wonderful. It's so brutal. I couldn't be a dev. It has to be so brutal, right? You go and like click on the spoilers. You just expect everyone to be happy and hype, and it's just people just fucking bitching. You know, I felt kind of bad not being like super hype about Yuumi. And calling her just a support champion, right? Like, I can get behind, you know, support champions being good. Like, we talk about Maokai all the time. It's like not being a champion you want to build around, but he's kind of like a premier support champion in the game. And that's, you know, that's a role I could see Yuumi filling, right? I don't, just because I don't want to play 3 copies of Yuumi doesn't mean that she's a bad card. But man, those people on Twitter are just shitting all over Yuumi and talking about what a terrible card it is. It's like, I know you can't make everyone happy all the time, but oh, that has to feel so bad to like devote your heart and soul into making the cards and then reading Twitter. Oh man, I don't know. I guess that's what you sign up for, but brutal. All right, well, what are we going to do with these? My intent here was that we're going to get this Yordle Explorer into combat, but now that we see Cloud Stance, do we still feel the same way about that? I mean, probably. I think we just go for the Elixir of Wrath out of these. I don't want Mimic. Like, if the best thing that we're doing is playing a Cloud Stance on Conchologist to return it back to our hand, that feels kind of bad. Although this board also feels kind of bad. Need some meat out here.
Sharpen the blade.
Let's see where this gets us. I suspect we're gonna play the Glory Seeker and then just have to pass. But this can lead into these turns to where opponent says like, "Oh shit, I don't want to play my Sivir," or is he playing Sivir? I don't want to play my Ziggs or my Echo because it's just going to get hook killed by this dum dum. Then he's not taking the bait. We can give it a turn. I don't like this. Like, I don't suspect we're gonna get like tons of value out of this Yordle Explorer, but it feels better to like save it and hope as opposed to just like trading it for a Clockling. So I think I'm okay just to pass here. Maybe we'll find a better trick with this new Conchologist. He gets all those super stats as well, right? We saved our Yordle Explorer, so he gets the bonus. Can't believe you're not premium, my dude. We gotta fix that one day. Alright, well, I think we're in on a poison dart. I mean, it could realistically be that we should have just taken the Elixir of Wrath and then just looked to dome somebody for like 1 million. But Reputation 0. I was trying to see where we could get in terms of like playing Decisive Maneuver and Elixir of Wrath to amping this guy up. All right. Well, he's going to attack at least with the Rock Bear. We'll block it with the Proto. Now we can Buster Shot down here. We can block his Naturalist like this. I think we'd probably just do one of these. Do we? I mean, we can use like the decisive maneuvers on this attack, but we're not like trading up that well, right? If we say stun the 2/2 and then trade up with everything else. What if we do this? What if we Elixir of Wrath the Proto? Alright, I think I'm on board this way. Okay. I don't love it, but we're kind of lacking across the board anyways. Here comes the dart. Right, we really need like a quick attack or a meaty sized dude. Arena Kingpin is about as meaty as it gets, but this is a very awkward hand. I have to be playing the Painter. Let's discard decisive maneuvers. I think we need to keep these big boys around. Minion. Engage sadnoise.mp3. Load it up in your Winamp. We can probably still play it and attack with it, but it's unfortunate. I usually don't like giving them sarcophaguses. Don't think we have like a ton of choice though. Yeah, like he probably just said, "Thanks, bust." that's what it usually feels like every time we kill a sarcophagus. Say, "Thanks, bust." It's just what I wanted. All right. Want to do it like this? I mean, we have the Buster Shot. That's just a bigger unit than Ziggs. I think this is okay. We just get our 2 8-drops that we can't really do anything with here. But hopefully, I mean, this Bandle Gunner is boosted, and so hopefully this will get things going. There's a big squad. Alright, well maybe this will start to be enough. Can't lethal us next turn. And then maybe we can get in some kind of like double attack with our impact thing or something. Right? Are we gonna actually? He's just gonna open like 6 from Ziggs. How dead are we? To -3. Takes us to 1 if we block Ziggs. Okay. Alright. That's not good. Oh, poison dart. Got it. Okay. GG. That was a way awkward hand. Nothing was going right that game. But that's a function of our deck. It's certainly lacking in a lot of places. Captain Farron in the Captain Farron type places. Man, I really don't want to be adding more 8-drops to our deck, but he's just like as powerful as it gets. I feel like the one we really want is this Aloof Travelers for the Arena Kingpin, but yeah, he's such a tough pass. Alright, well we got the power now. Right, the battles continue. Ooh, man, I forget about it on occasion. There's a show on TV called Seinfeld. I don't know. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I started. It's one of those shows that I think is just great to turn on in the background and get going. I'm curious how many people have picked up on it since it was added to Netflix here recently. It's like they lost The Office and didn't get Friends, and they had to pick something up, so they picked up Seinfeld, which is. I mean, I watched it for ages. It I guess started in maybe in like '89 or the early '90s, and then ran for I don't know half a decade or more. Often touted as the best sitcom ever made. And it's like I've just hit this like real choice piece of like it's in season 5 now is where I'm at. There it's just like episode after episode is just classic, and I was hit with there's the marine biologist episode where George Costanza classically doesn't make the best or most truthful decisions in his love life, and he's telling this girl he was into back in college that he's a marine biologist. Definitely not the case, but they're walking alongside the beach. There's a beached whale. He's a marine biologist. He has to do something, and so he mounts the beast and pulls a golf ball from its blowhole. But nonetheless, when he's like describing that story to his friends, it is like one of the most iconic and classic monologues in history, if you will. And I give it such wonderful credit for just just such a fantastic descriptor of what George's character actually is, and then his delivery on it. It's just fantastic piece of television. I was glad to run into that one last night. But the thing that I was thinking as I was watching the show is the show itself, Seinfeld, love it. It's a classic. The comedians in cars drinking coffee, the Jerry Seinfeld Netflix thing, where he's in a car with a comedian drinking coffee. Fantastic, but his stand-up I just cannot stand. I can't make it through a single Jerry Seinfeld stand-up special. I think that's kind of odd that some of his content is literally just the best, arguably some of the best television, some of the greatest web-based content, and then his stand-up, I just can't. I can't make it through. I remember watching one with the wife, and she was just like, "You're just not into this, are you? You just don't really like. Do you not like Seinfeld?" And it's like, no, I love Seinfeld. It's just these specials are not what does it for me. But anyways, back to the action here. Seinfeld aside, what are we going to do with this, right? The Saga Seeker has grown beyond the range of our Buster Shot. We can't really block it. We can throw a block in front of the Honored Lord, but it's not ideal, right? I think we just like eat this. It's not like as scary until he either A, adds another elusive, or B, gives the Saga Seeker overwhelm. And so I think here I just like want to pass so that I can bank this spell mana, then play Conchologist and see what we can get ourselves into with the intent of getting in a big attack next turn. Or like getting in an attack and then playing a good spell. Now, it is kind of interesting drawing the Arena Kingpin, and that he's just really good against this opposing board, and we can get him up to 6 attack. And so that's kind of what I'm leaning on here. It's like I kind of want to attack with the Protoporo. I want to attack with this giant Kingpin. And then just set ourselves up to be like blocking Saga Seeker with our 1/1s. Maybe we should have thrown like a block in front of the Honored Lord the turn before, but oh fuck, he's just not doing anything. Is this just gonna get reposted? That's fine. There's just not like just passing doesn't feel good. He's still gonna have like the mana for this next turn. And here it's like we're trading 3 mana for 3 mana. His Saga Seeker gets to grow, but he doesn't get to add to the board. And so it's not great, but it is what it is. Then I guess one of the questions I should have asked ourselves as well, we couldn't get the damage on Saga Seeker, right? But it was like, what if we play Conchologist and then hit a Nox and Guillotine kind of card, which would be a good way to take down these Saga Seekers. Maybe that kind of thing will come into fruition in a turn or two from now, but we are hurting here. We are definitely hurting. Have to give up the Yordle Explorer on this one. I want to put the Blade Squire in front of this thing. We have to just prevent the damage. Okay. I don't know if we can recover out of this one. This is gonna be a tough one to do. Good multi-faction. Nope. I was hoping for a bit of a high roll off the painter here, but that was not it. Okay, Conchologist. Sharpened Resolve is interesting enough. I think we can add it. We can get a fully wide board this turn and hit with the Sharpened Resolve, and then just kind of hope for the best. I don't like this. I don't like this whatsoever, but I'm not seeing anything else that we can realistically do here. I was curious if, like, on the previous turn, we should have just played Protoporo, because we're probably just going to drop a Grumble Slug anyways. It's kind of looking like that's turning up as well. Opponent's not playing cards again. I wouldn't be surprised for another combat trick to come down, but we just have to, like, slam in the damage, right? We can't not do it. Just sitting here and passing and being afraid of his combat tricks isn't going to win us this game. And so I suspect we'll attack with everything. I mean, his blocks are just good as is. I'm surprised he's not adding units to the board. I guess he doesn't want to, like, block with the Saga Seeker and then have it get sharpened resolved and then not have the mana for a combat trick behind. But if he's just sitting here like this, his trick has to be something like back-to-back, which I think is just A-okay. Scattered Pod drops now. Alright. Well, here comes the squad. He does have Twin Disciplines mana steal, but... Ugh, this is nasty. So, with the way he's lined up these blocks here, this could actually turn out pretty well for us, right? We're just going to assume that he doesn't have anything. He probably has a combat trick, sure, but if he did put his 4 attack unit in front of the Bandle Painter, and we're going to sharpen resolve, so this is going to get a boost off the augment, and then we just have to decide if we want to try and take down the Saga Seeker or the Scattered Pod, and I'm going to go after the Saga Seeker. It's not like super likely that we get to survive this attack, but we need something to just go right. And, like, again, he probably has a combat trick, or we're kind of hoping it might just be like a heal, but I guess he could put a heal on the Firebrand. But I don't think, again, like, I don't think this is going to be good, but if you can't beat the card, then why bother playing around it, right? If we're just like to the point to where we just have to have something go right to win, and then we really think opponent has, you know, a Pale Cascade, there's nothing we can do about it. And so I don't think sitting around not attacking because opponent's going to have a combat trick here is the way to ever win this game. We're gonna chunk in for this 4 damage here, and then we're gonna draw Captain Farron. That's the way this is gonna happen. He has the heal card. Okay. So we didn't get like the full kill here, right? We didn't get to kill the dragon, but we are at least lined up now to where we can Buster Shot the Scattered Pod and just block this Fused Firebrand. And so definitely not out of it here. He brings an open. Okay. No, we got to block. We can't just eat this and hope for the best next turn. Again, he plays Spirit. Oh, that's such a brutal one. Well, we don't have to get dominated by that. We can do this. Like, we can block with the 1/1, take the 7, and then we can Nox and Fervor away our Spiderling. Well, do we want to send it face or do we want to send it at this unit? It's pretty scary to send it at this unit, right? If he just drops a combat trick on it and we completely whiff, that's pretty bad. But he also just like opened on us here. I'm curious if this ever does work. This is pretty decent if it works. Like, I don't know, that's tough. Like, the problem with going face with this Nox and Fervor is we aren't able to get wide. This was the problem with not going face, is now it's just kind of dead. We can still take it down with the Buster Shot, but that was kind of the space where, like, when we're babbling on about like really needing something to go right, that's where we need things to go right. But we get to take down the big boy here. We got Captain Farron in our deck. I can't highlight him. I wish somebody could fix these tooltips with... there he goes. Oh my god. The tooltip loaded. I haven't seen it do that in ages. Wow. What did we do? I clicked on it or something? Wow. The things that blow my mind these days. So, okay. What are we doing here? I think we're good to just slam again, right? We hit with everybody. He doesn't block with Young Witch. He blocks probably, you know, as the board stands, he blocks Grumble Slug with the 7/3, the 3/1 with his 1/2, and he takes 4. Okay, seems better than dropping a Bandle Commando first. And again, same idea, right? He has free blocks on the 2/3 if he wants to play a heal or something first, whatever. We have a block next turn onto the Firebrand, and then it's like, well, we got a Captain Farron in our deck. You know, I don't know. Yeah, Captain Farron. That could be enough. Ooh. Oof, got him to 7. Okay. He's running into this classic problem where he doesn't have overwhelms. Don't like seeing this heal come through, but we're doing stuff. Yeah, no, man, we're doing it. We're doing stuff. Interesting. I was surprised he didn't. Why would he put the gem onto the dragon? I'm surprised he didn't put it onto the Young Witch. And I'm also surprised he didn't just play it next turn, right? He could have full banked the 3 mana and then played it next turn. I guess he is playing Pantheon. No, he's not playing Pantheon. I don't get that. Right? If you have a burst spell and 3 mana, you can just bank the mana, go into the next turn, and then... or you can throw it down first. I guess there could be a world where he has like a Daybreak spell, and that would make sense in terms of playing it the turn before. Grumble Slug premium. He looks kind of not premium, but I feel like he should be premium. Captain Arika. Okay. Alright, I'll make a sad noise. Oh, there's the guillotine, but he has this fucking combo of 2 spell shielded units. I hate spell shield so much. I'm kind of okay with it being on Arika, being an 8 cost unit, but this is one of the dumbest abilities ever made. You heard it here first. It's fucking dumb. Alright, so who are we keeping? I kind of want to keep the impact unit, because it can actually deal damage. So if we're keeping the impact, the blocks don't matter. We'll pokey stick the Young Witch. Maybe we'll hit another Bandle Commando and get a blocker and stuff for some more time. Doesn't sound like a win. Bandle Tree is kind of interesting. Who knows what we could draw with the Bandle Tree? We could draw literally anything. Literally anything. Alright, Bandle Tree. Give us something good. Waste Walker, you're not really it. You know, not gonna lie. You're not what we were looking for. But we'll add you to the board. Maybe opponent doesn't have any more units. Out of the way. Okay. Alright, KDA noises. Wiki wiki scratch. This is totally one of these games. If we're playing ladder, I would have just conceded like 15 minutes ago. We can't do it. Now it's talking about Seinfeld and stuff, so kind of is what it is. And Tarek, okay. Alright, we'll have a feeling this one's done for. We didn't draw Captain Farron nearly quickly enough. So I don't think we're going to get ourselves out of this one, but let's see. Let's see. He's out of spells, so he's just going to open. Yeah, we're dead. This guy. Draw Shin. Then Captain Farron. A day late and a dollar short, my dude. Man, if we could have gotten in like 1 attack with him and he would have dealt 2 damage through like a Firebrand or through an Arika, and then we still had the 2 Decimates to end it. Man. It's tough. We had it. We had the outs. He just came a turn too late. I guess 2 turns too late. We needed to play him on our opponent's turn and then hit with him. But you know, not a super successful trial, but I think this was a case of half-assing it, right? We talk about you don't want to like half-ass 3 different things. You want to whole-ass one thing, and we never really got any of these strategies cohesively together, right? We didn't hit Mecha Yordles. I really regret around wherever that was, that like pick 5 or pick 7, where the Glory and Darkness pack showed up, or the Glory and Scion, Glory and Value, whatever it's called, whenever that pack showed up. I'm really kind of regretting that we didn't take it, because we didn't see that archetype show up again later. Now, it is tough to kind of bank on things like that, because that archetype is bugged. And so I'm not sure the likelihood of being able to pull things off like that. But like if you watched our previous video where we drafted Lucian into Lucian into Bandle City, and then the video before, or 2 videos before that, where we drafted Quinn into Bandle City, and we took the Mentors pack, and then we're able to keep picking all the Mentors cards in the future. That is the idea that we're trying to pull off. But Glory and Value seems to be like mega bugged. I haven't seen kind of like the same ideas with a lot of these other archetypes, but I'm pretty confident the cards would have showed up, but the game just doesn't know what to do with the champions, right? If you're not familiar, draft a Scion, and like without fail, every single trade pick you'll be offered to trade away Scion. I'm just, that is what has me like a little worried in the terms of if we'd taken that Glory and Value, what actually happens from that point forward. And so, yeah, like the places where this is failed, right? We didn't hit Mecha Yordles, But like the places where our deck was kind of going, where we had like the Yordle Explorer, Yordle Squire combos, we could have tried to just land heavily into Yordles, but we didn't take like all of the Bandle Painter style cards that we could find. We were never really able to get Tristana going, right? We didn't have too much multi-faction stuff. Maybe that one's on me because I didn't draft a third faction, which can actually be quite useful with Tristana, just to give you another set of Bandle City multi-factions to choose from. But it's like this is what I'm talking about half-assing it, right? Is we have the three Yordle Explorers, but we don't have tons of Yordles. We have some of the go wide strategies, right? We have the likes of Bandle Commandos and House Spiders, but we don't have anything to boost them all, right? We want to find either things like decisive maneuvers to boost all of them, or we want to find like the arena veteran, whatever he is, that gets a stat for every unit on the board. We didn't come up with any of this like width boosting except for the decisive maneuvers. And then it's just like we just didn't come with like a good cohesive strategy. It's just like we have a bunch of cheap cards and we're trying to end the game with some Bandle Gunners, but we can't boost the Gunners because we don't have the multi-factions. And then, right, it's just that none of the like the multi-faction isn't here, the go wide isn't here, the Yordle thing isn't here. This is just at the end of the day a bad draft from FTP Bust. And I think, you know, we should have really just like honed in onto one of these things and ran with it. And so I think realistically, we would have had two options that would have been successful. We could have here at pick 6, when we got our second Yordle Explorer, we just take every card that says Yordle on it. That would have been option number 1, right? We're pretty good in those terms. We already have, you know, Tristana, Aloof Travelers, the 2 in pick 3, that's 3, Yordle Squires 4. That would give us like 5 Yordles at the end of pick 6. And then we just take everything that says Yordle on it, try our best to boost with Yordle Explorers. That would have been thing number 1. Thing number 2 is at like pick 5 or pick 7, wherever it was. We should have picked the Glory and Value pack. I think those two would have been the thing that was the most successful, but we didn't do either. And at the end of the day, this was a not a winner. But I am glad that we got to get this one out here. You know, I look at these videos as successful if we came out here and learned something, and not so much about chasing down a 7 winner. And so hopefully this will help us in the future. We're drafting Tristana and these kind of things turn up. We'll have more knowledge and maybe we'll take that next draft to 7. But I enjoyed it. We had fun. I enjoyed that one. At least I had fun. Hopefully you did too as well. Does not look like there's any rewards today. And so that is going to do it. I hope everyone enjoyed the trial. You maybe learn to yodel with the Yordles. Is that how you do it? Yodel with the Yordles a little bit better. Maybe learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.